It started in a place called Centralia. At first, it looked like nothing. A small fire, underground, something that could be handled. That's what people thought. But the fire didn't go out. It kept burning. Under the streets, under the homes. Days turned into months. Months turned into years. And then something strange started happening. The ground got hot. Steam rose from cracks in the road. Carbon monoxide began seeping into homes. That's when people started asking questions. But by the time those questions were answered, it was already too late, because the fire wasn't spreading across the surface. It was spreading underneath everything, invisible and unstoppable. People were told to leave. Some refused. Most didn't wait. They packed what they could and walked away from a town that is still burning today. And the strangest part, the fire is expected to continue for another 200 years. But Centralia wasn't the only place where something hidden forced people out, because in Missouri, the danger wasn't fire. It was something no one could see. Times Beach looked like a normal town. Quiet streets, families, nothing unusual, until the roads were sprayed. At first, it seemed harmless, just a way to control dust. That's what residents were told. But what they weren't told was what was actually in that chemical. Dioxin, one of the most toxic substances known. It didn't show itself immediately, but slowly, people started getting sick. Animals died. Health issues appeared with no clear cause. And then the truth came out. The entire town had been contaminated, not partially, not in one area, everywhere. The government made a decision not to fix it, not to contain it, to remove everyone, every single resident. The entire town was bought out and abandoned, homes demolished, land erased, as if it had never existed. But that raises a question. If something like that could happen once, how many other places are there where people were exposed before anyone realized? In New York, something similar was already unfolding. Love Canal wasn't supposed to be dangerous. It was just a neighborhood, homes built, families settled. But underneath those homes, something had been buried for years. Industrial waste, thousands of tons of it, covered, forgotten, ignored, until it started coming back up. Chemical smells filled the air. Strange substances appeared in basements. Children began getting sick. Miscarriages increased. Illnesses spread, and no one could explain why at first. But then someone looked deeper, and what they found was that the entire neighborhood had been built on top of a toxic dump. Not accidentally, knowingly. That's when people stopped asking questions and started leaving, because the danger wasn't visible, but it was already everywhere. But not every town was abandoned because of something hidden. Some were destroyed by decisions. On paper, Picher, Oklahoma looked like a mining success story, rich in resources, full of opportunity, until the ground itself became the problem. Mining waste piled up. Toxic materials spread across the area. Air, water, soil, all affected. People started getting sick. But the real turning point came later, when the government stepped in, not to save the town, but to declare it uninhabitable. Buyouts began. Homes were abandoned. Entire neighborhoods emptied. And then something even stranger happened. A tornado hit what was left, as if the town was being erased completely. And that raises a question. When a place becomes too damaged to live in, who decides when it's over? Because in Illinois, they didn't wait for destruction. They moved before it happened again. Valmeyer had already been hit once, flooded, devastated. People rebuilt, tried again, but then came the warning. It would happen again. Not if, when. So the town made a decision, not to rebuild, not to stay, but to relocate. An entire town moved, piece by piece, to higher ground, leaving the original behind, empty, preserved in time. And that's where things change. Because this wasn't forced by disaster, it was forced by prediction. Which raises another question. How many places today are waiting for something everyone knows is coming? This is where the story changes, because not all towns were abandoned because of danger. Some were abandoned because of something slower, but just as final. Money. Rhyolite, Nevada exploded almost overnight. Gold was discovered. People rushed in. Buildings went up fast. Businesses thrived. It looked unstoppable, until it wasn't. The gold ran out, and just as quickly as people arrived, they left. No long decline, no gradual shift, just a sudden collapse, and within a few years, The town was empty, which shows something different. Sometimes it's not disaster that forces people out. It's the sudden disappearance of opportunity. But then there are places where the reason isn't as clear. Cahaba, Alabama was once a capital, important, busy, growing, until flooding started, repeatedly. Disease followed, conditions worsened, and slowly, people left, but not all at once, until one day. There was no reason left to stay, and the town was simply gone. Which raises something deeper. At what point does a place stop being worth saving? Because in California, they never tried to save it. Body became a ghost town almost instantly, a booming gold town full of life, until the same pattern repeated. Resources disappeared, crime increased, fires destroyed parts of the town, and people left, not gradually, but decisively, leaving buildings behind exactly as they were. And today, it still looks like people could walk back in, but they never did. And then there are places that weren't abandoned by people, but by systems. Gary, Indiana didn't collapse overnight, but parts of it did. Industry left, jobs vanished, entire neighborhoods emptied, and while the city still exists, sections of it feel like something stopped midway through, which raises a final question. Is abandonment always about leaving completely, or can it happen in parts? Because across America, there are places where something changed. Quickly, quietly, or without warning, and people made the same decision, to leave. Not later, not eventually, but immediately. Most towns disappear over time. They fade, they shrink, they're forgotten slowly. But these weren't like that. Something happened, something strong enough to make people walk away from everything they knew. And in some of these places, the reason is still there, still underground, still in the water, still in the air, because people don't leave overnight unless something makes staying impossible, and whatever forced them out didn't always leave with them.